with my voice every day. Just put a little bit more of myself up there. All right. The other day, we learned how to make decisions in a program using an if statement, right? So remember this example? So secret number is kind of like what we did. So we wrote those three conditions as separate if statements. There was like if it was equal to, if it was greater than, if it was less than. Well, you can put them all together in a single statement, and I'll show you. This is what it looks like. So take a look up here. I mean, a lot of you aren't looking. I wonder what your plan is, because I don't want to help you do everything that I've already explained over and over again. But unless you've all programmed before, it'd be great if you were looking up here. Here's the, ask the question. And then this looks just the same, and it is just the same as it was before. But then instead of doing a separate if, we do elif, E-L-I-F, and then another condition, and then there's an else. And these things have colons after them, just like each if does. What this does is it guarantees that one of those three things is going to happen. Okay, if you have three separate if statements, you have no guarantee that none of them might trigger. But this one of those things is going to happen. Either the first one, the second one, and the truth is you could have as many of those elifs as you want. So you could have 10 of these things. One of them is going to fire if you have an else. So if none of the other things get matched, then it's going to do the else condition. So it's like a catch-all. So here's an example. You don't have to have any elifs. So here's an if else. So it says, if name equals Hayes, it says, good morning, professor. Otherwise, it just says, hey. So it's going to do one of those two things for sure. The name is either Hayes, but if it's not Hayes, it's going to print hey. It's okay to not have the ELIF part. You don't have to have that. You don't have to have the else, right? Yesterday, we did a bunch of if statements without any else's, no problem. But if you do have the else, then you're guaranteed that one of those conditions is gonna happen. Like either the top one, or if that one doesn't trigger, then it's gonna do the else. It's kind of like, try this, but if that doesn't work, do this other thing. Questions? So here's another example. So check it out. If choice equals continue, then print, here we go. Elif choice equals wait. Yeah. Then say, okay, we can pause for a minute. Elif choice equals leave. I'm sorry to see you go. Else, not a valid choice. So one of those four things is going to happen. You're guaranteed. So it's nice to know as a programmer, okay, one of these things is going to happen for sure. And notice I did two elifs this time. You don't have to have any elifs, but you can have one, or you can have 100. I mean, we would never put 100 in something, but you can have two. And then what's interesting is the else is also optional. So if we took off the else, this is just like the last example, but without the else. What this means, without the else, we're not guaranteed that one of these messages will print. So if you don't have the else, then you're only going to get something printed if the choice variable is continue, wait, or leave. If it's something else, nothing's going to print. Whereas back here, see, we had the else. That was kind of a catch-all, like a little like, hey, we're gonna make sure something gets said. Whereas here, we're just only saying something if one of those particular things is set. Here's another example. Please guess my age. Remember, this was an example I did before, but I did it with three ifs. So this is if n is less than 57, too low. If it's equal to 57, lucky guess. Otherwise, I'm not that old. And that's like with a number, it's either less than, greater than, or equal. It can't be, there's no fourth state. So this works great with if, elif, else. Any questions? Let me show you a quick example. It is our fifth class. Yeah. Yep. And I'm gonna say name equals input name. Okay, so down here we say if name equal is hi. So if we run this and I don't enter Hayes, nothing happens, right? If I run it and I say Hayes, it says hi. I can make everything a little bit bigger. If I run it and say Hayes, but not, look at this one. You'd think I did it right, but it doesn't say anything because capitalization matters on in the computers. See, Hayes with a lowercase h is not the same as Hayes with an uppercase h. Now, the elif thing, what a lot of people do, this is wrong, what I'm writing right here. Oh, it just fixed it for me. That's nice. I'll show you what was wrong. Name equals Gilly, that's my dog. Yeah, here we go. This is all messed up, which is what I wanted. Else, it's one of my chickens. Okay, so anyone tell me what's wrong with any of this? There's a lot of things wrong. Yes. Oh, which line? Do you want to point? Tell me which line number? Well, I forgot to put 2 equal signs. That's for sure. So that was a problem. There's another problem. Yes.
There's no parentheses.
No, we're okay with that. The main problem here is look at this woof. Let me run this. You'll see you get all kind of errors. It says expected an indented block on line 6. So look at line 6. So by the way, this stuff over here, really scary. I totally get it. But if you read it, you can often see, look, it says line 6 and it says indentation error. So remember, Python needs everything inside of an if statement to be indented. So see how I indented that. Now if I run it, it's going to say line 7. And this is a separate problem. Else conditions don't have, else's don't have a condition. Else just has to be else. And so I know some of you are going to try that today. You'll do an else and say something, but there's an if, and then there's one or more elifs, and then there's an else. And the else doesn't have a condition. There's still something wrong. Anyone besides Christopher? Somebody else? Yes, Ruby.
Does the else statement also need to be indented?
Yeah, what's after the else has to be indented. Yeah, the else doesn't have to be like. Watch this. If I indented the else, it would tell me that it's like, what are you talking about? So the else, the if, the elif, and the else all have to have the same indentation, and then the prints have to be all inside. I mean, in this particular arrangement. And by the way, I haven't shown you, but if you select a couple of things and then you can hit tab, they'll all indent at the same time. So if you and then you could do shift tab to unindent things at the same time. That's real handy. I want to show you another thing. You know how when you're typing, sometimes I gotta make this a little smaller. Sometimes it REPL pops up all this stuff. It's trying to help you. You can turn that off. So let me show you. Like if I'm down here and I want to say print, all this stuff pops up and starts blocking your view. That's called code intelligence, and they're trying to make it easy for you. But I'm going to suggest you turn it off because none of you are using it, and it's just getting in the way. It's telling you how to print and all the way, like, I'm sorry. So it's over here under the gear, and you just scroll down here where it says code intelligence, and I would disable it. I mean, it's not like we're trying to be not intelligent, but when I say print, I kind of don't want it to pop up stuff that blocks my view of everything. And when I'm walking around helping you guys, it's always doing that. Anyway, here's a little if, elif, else statement. Remember, lastly, I guess if we're going to get a number, you have to do int input. I don't think you have to ask anyone for a number today. And then if you're checking if a number is equal to something, you don't use quotes. So we say if num equals 13, this would be, oh, I blew it again, equal 13. And, so when you're doing numbers, you don't do quotes around it because that would be, just doesn't make sense. So, okay. So we have 2 assignments. I'm going to get you going on the first one. I hope. Hopefully I did. Yeah, we're doing loop fun. Oh no, more ifs first. Which are we doing first? I think we're doing in the order that's shown here. So we're going to do loop fun first. Okay, so I just posted it. I've got apparently I don't have a video to help you with that one. But anyway, get cracking, and soon I'll post the other one. I want everyone working on them in order. Okay. This is you too, right? Let's measure this. Welcome to you. Go ahead. That's here. That's right. Okay. Oh, that's hilarious.